And with that, folks, we're into a game two. We've got XTK versus Team Braveheart. This is for the Star Ladder I-League China section. And I'm hoping you're all having a good time as we hop right into this game two. We're into the draft already, so let's get cracking. And with that, we're going to be seeing that some very similar bands flying out for both teams. I don't see anything different here, Noble Wings.
Team Braveheart banned Tusk this time, so they didn't really want to play against that again after that loss last game.
Certainly did a lot of work for them, to be blunt. So now with that, we're going to be seeing who does this leave in the pool? The Quap. So DK could opt for her since Shadow Fiend is a little bit weaker here, but I think Team Braveheart might just pick up Shadow Fiend right away.
Yeah, they were given Shadow Fiend on Radiant. I'd be surprised if they don't take it up here. And even though there's a first pick Spirit Breaker, I feel last game DK played the Shadow Fiend versus Spirit Breaker, and it's not that big of a deal for the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, it definitely felt like, as you mentioned, it was kind of that counter pick to the Shadow Fiend, similar to how folks love picking Clockwork, and it just didn't work in that instance. But they're going with the Wyvern Ember, and we're going to be seeing an Ember tonight. I am excited. This does give DK a lot of time to pick up stuff to help them lock down the Ember Spirit, but I feel like if you don't pick this guy early, he's going to be banned out.
Yeah, as we said, I think Braveheart have played Ember Spirit, I think 4 times on this patch already, and we'll see what DK decide to pick up. I think they want to get some lockdown here and make sure that they can maybe magical damage. I would really like to see a Quap from them, actually.
Yeah, Quap for them. Maybe Disrupt is a popular pick against Ember Spirit. So is the Bane. Quite a lot of long lockdown, but it's the Night Stalker who last time Team Braveheart banned out, and then DK thought maybe they were going to pick the Ember. So Night Stalker, that's a 5-second silence on Crippling Fear at level 1 during nighttime. Feels bad is the only way to really say this.
Yeah, I think I talked about it last game when I think DK banned Night Stalker. Yeah, it might have been Braveheart. Braveheart banned Night Stalker, and I thought it was because they wanted to pick Ember. Night Stalker is one of the best heroes versus Ember in the game. His silence pretty much forces Ember into either Manta style, BKB, or even a fast Linken's. He also can roam. If you decide to put the Ember Spirit mid, Night Stalker can make Ember Spirit's life living hell in mid.
Yeah, so it is going to be interesting to see how Braveheart adapt to this. Now, they could put the Ember Spirit in the safe lane, right, and go for something else. I feel like it's greedy. I always feel it's greedy to have an Ember Spirit and an SF in the same team because you need stacks for both. So it's not easy.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be risky to put him safe lane, as if DK decide they can just put the Spirit Breaker and the Night Stalker in the off lane and try to maybe shut him down that way.
Yeah. So now we're going to be seeing Clockwork banned out, so maybe DK themselves are planning on picking up that Shadow Fiend. Or maybe they just want to really make sure there aren't strong offlaners because they're going to pick a particularly soft carry who needs a lot of help.
It's interesting. They banned out 6 offlaners now, and maybe even 7th if you consider Quap an offlaner. There's not any offlaners left in the pool. Slarder's banned, Undying, Darkster, Clock was banned by DK, so 4 offlaners banned out there. Then you already have 2 offlaners and 1 semi-offlaner banned out by Team Braveheart. So it'll be really interesting to see what they go for offlane, as there's not a lot left in the pool.
Yeah, and maybe we'll force the teams into 2-1-2, although you could argue maybe it's not a lineup that feels great this patch, where it's so valuable to have a hero stacking in the jungle for that quick catch-up farm. Either way, Team Braveheart, they ban out the Bane, someone who could bring a lot of hurt to the Ember Spirit. I still think Disrupt is an excellent pick here for DK.
No, I think that would be a good pick. It's okay versus Ember. The issue is Ember Spirit can Remnant back while being glimpsed, so it's not as easy as you would think to glimpse him back, but if you use your Static Storm correctly, you can stop the Ember from getting out with a permanent lockdown, so that could be a really good pick here.
And Braveheart telling us that they're going very defensive. You can argue that Wyverns can be an offensive support. given how she can Winter's Curse and so on, but this just screams to me that they want to make sure that Ember Spirit or whoever else is their safe laner gets a good amount of farm.
Yeah, and it is a little risky. I know me and my team, we talked about Wyvern and Dazzle together, and we kind of all five agreed that we didn't really like them together as it leaves you with two slows but no lockdown, and it leaves you really susceptible to a pick like Ancient Apparition or anything that can get out with a lot of movement like Slark or a hero like that, that if you don't have lockdown, you're going to have major issues going into the mid game.
Yeah. And it is going to be the Shadow Fiend bit choreographed. Now, Team Braveheart, so two things going in here. Obviously, if it's Shadow Fiend versus Ember Spirit, Shadow Fiend wins every time. Ember always loses his lane. But Shadow Fiend also a bit nice from the aspect of presence of the Dark Lord. Ember Spirit can't handle physical damage, and while Dazzle is certainly meant to be there to help buff him up, as is the Wyvern, Shadow Fiend, it just feels like he's got razors to knock off the Flame God, and then he hits like a truck.
Yeah, I would say if this was just Shadow Fiend versus Ember, I've played the matchup a lot, both ways, and I actually really like Ember Spirit in the matchup. You lose the matchup in CS, but you have a lot of kill potential in that lane, as when you get on Shadow Fiend, if you chains and Flame Guard, his first raise won't be enough to break your Flame Guard, so you can keep it on pretty consistently. But with the addition of Night Stalker is the best roaming support to kill Ember Spirit. He can just pretty much run at the Ember Spirit Q, use your silence on him, and Shadow Fiend should have a free kill there, as Ember has no way to escape, or he's really squishy, and he has low armor, so it's going to mean that all the rotations from Night Stalker and Spirit Breaker are really going to play into how his mid lane goes out.
100%. And an Earthshaker, I have to assume this is off lane. There's nowhere else it could go.
Maybe we've seen mid Earthshaker, Crit Shaker.
We have. It's really rough against a Shadow Fiend, I feel, unless you're a significantly better player. And it did look like last time our mid matchup was pretty even. So, I mean, you know, Shadow Fiend got behind a bit, but it was also in part because he was a Shadow Fiend and then he caught right back up. So, probably the offlane Earthshaker. This guy, I wouldn't want to play him against a Night Stalker.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's interesting to see is that Team DK has a lot of heroes that can just kind of run at you, have a lot of interrupts, have a lot of stuns already, or mini stuns, and it's going to be a really difficult game for Earthshaker. And I really like the Slark pickup by DK. I think I said when Team Braveheart picked Winter Wyvern Dazzle, it leaves you really susceptible to heroes like Slark in the mid game. And I think DK noticed this, and they right away went for the Slark during the 4th phase.
Yeah, once again, I do feel like Team Braveheart, maybe you can argue, have a bit better lockdown this game with the Earthshaker, but come nighttime, this game sucks for them, right? I mean, Night Stalker's going to be running at you, Slark's going to be running at you. Slark, not only... I mean, that hero also has increased night vision, so Night Stalker can be being a pain on one side of the map, and then Slark can be taking advantage of that on another. Oh, it is not good.
Yeah, and one thing to mention is that Team DK or Team Braveheart did ban out Rubik, and that is something that Team DK has played a lot of this patch. They picked it 5 times during 6.85, which was, I think, considering they only had maybe 10, 12 games, that's a really high percentage for Rubik picks. So they did their research and they banned it out.
Yeah, I think also a lot of these teams get to scrim against each other, but I don't know if Rubik, it feels like they need... I was going to say they need a very sacrificial support almost, but actually, now that I look around at the map, Rubik, obviously a nice pickup, because Spirit Breaker is going to be charging him, but we have a Lycan, and this draft to me just got weird. I'm a little bit confused, because I feel like Lycan, split pusher, he's not... I feel like he's not that easy to play in the hard carry role anymore. He's not going to be able to fight a Slark, mono a mono, but Ember Spirit is a hero that takes ages to get online, and the rest of their lineup's not exactly a pushing lineup from Team Braveheart.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons. I mean, first off, it does help your lane, as you can Dazzle Bomb, like with, what is it, Shadow Wave on your Wolves to get a good amount of damage there, so that might be part of it. And it's interesting. I wouldn't have gone with the Lycan, but we'll see how it plays out, and we'll see what they want to do with it.
Yeah, I just worry that he won't be able to have that much game impact, and DK, I feel like there's a bunch of different supports they could go for here. They could get themselves a witch doctor, and that would be fine, you know. A lich, even, who is somehow not banned. Maybe just not... He wasn't banned last game, either. Maybe just not popular in this meta. Sorry, in this region.
Yeah, Lich is... It's an interesting hero. It leaves your mid-game really weak. He doesn't do a lot. He really helps your lanes, but past that, he doesn't do much going into the mid and especially late game. So he's a risky pick.
Yeah. So, DK, I think they've got a lot of different options here. It's going to be an AA. Actually pretty good against this lineup. While there are a couple things, you can argue the Dazzle and the AA counter each other, just because you can Shallow Grave to save someone from shattering. But certainly once the AA gets the Ags, that becomes a bit of a moot point. And also, he's a clear counter to Wyvern.
Yeah, I originally was going to say AA before the Lycan pick, because he's really good versus Dazzle, he's really good versus Wyvern. But once they picked Lycan, I really thought that they were going to go with something with a little more reliable lockdown. But they did go back for the AA. It might give them issues locking down Lycan, as they don't have a stun per se. They have Spirit Breaker stun, but besides that, slows don't really affect Lycan, so Cold Feet won't be of use, Void won't be of use. And the only real way to lock him down is to get a good pounce on him, and then maybe Spirit Breaker leads with an ult or a stun.
Yeah. And with that, folks, we're in to a game 2 with a pause, like we always do.
We're into a pause right away, like always.
Yeah, and I am very, very zoomed in, folks. Either way, once again, I am Llama Down Under. I'm joined by Noble Wings from team... You're down on team Lonely Boys, right?
Yeah, we rebranded, we got new logos.
With a
that
sad panda, right?
Our logos are really well made.
Excellent.
They look really nice.
I think that's important. That should really help your team synergy. Either way, guys,
Yeah.
I would love your feedback. I'm trying some new camera controls, and as you can see, there's some funky zoom action going on. If anything's moving too fast or too slow, please leave me a note, and I'll try to check in between the games, just because I have been fiddling with my configs, and I'm not sure if they are smooth. And by not sure if they're smooth, I mean I'm pretty sure they're not smooth. is what I'm saying there. So I've been fiddling with that. Let me actually lower the tolerance a little bit. Where is the zoom? Oh well, we'll do that in between games. I actually think I forgot to write in my config file when I reinstalled Dota the other day the zoom reducer. So anyway, that would be why we're having such fun with this, folks. Either way, it's not terribly important. We will bear with it. I will fix it in between the next few games. Let's quickly introduce the teams. We have a pause. I don't know why. That is some discussion they're having, very short. But we have got on Braveheart, we've got Shaw on that Wyvern, Yim on the Dazzle, Lulu on the Lycan, 86 on the Ember, and Dog 7 on Earthshaker.
And going up on Team DK, we have Chen going on the Shadow Fiend, we have Boboka going on the Ancient Apparition, we have Wrong going on the Night Stalker, and we have XXS taking up the Spirit Breaker, and I don't know who the pink player, QD taking on the
it was QD.
last hero.
I actually wrote down their names before the game, just in case when we loaded in, it didn't show us names, because I was pretending unprepared. Now, looking up at these two teams, I have to say, I'm seeing a bit better synergy, and all-game gank potential. I think DK's lineup, very easy to execute. It's nighttime. You kill the Ember Spirit. I don't know what you do here as Braveheart to kind of deal with that. You've got 4 minutes of nighttime that's going to be happening very early on, which I think will be a bit too early for them to handle.
Yeah, and it means you're going to have to set the Dazzle mid. I think Wyvern's actually considerably bad versus Shadow Fiend, because you freeze someone and then Shadow Fiend just walks up and hits all 3 raises, and it's a lot of magic damage. So I think you're going to need to definitely put the Dazzle on the mid lane, make sure that he can save Ember Spirit if anything goes a little wonky with Night Stalker and Spirit Breaker charging in or walking in.
Yeah. And we have a serious lack of effigies in this pause. I just want you to know. We also have Chinese inscriptions on the effigies, so
I'm just gonna pretend I know what they mean. They have the Phoenix effigy.
I don't even recognize any of these characters. Like we're Dunsky. I recognize one character on this one. Excellent. I've done well. They have really long Um, I have to assume these are like sayings or jokes because like they're really long. They're effigy inscriptions.
Uh, I, I mean, I don't know any Chinese, so I'm not gonna comment on
Generally, a
that.
character is a word. Sometimes it's half a word, but like generally a character is a word. So
That sounds ridiculously hard to learn. Oh man.
yeah, I would not recommend it. Definitely not a system or a language system you want to dive right into right away. Maybe start with something simpler. Korean actually has an alphabet, as does Japanese these days. But back on topic. Instead, we are going to be hopping in to the game. I wonder how this Lycan will do. Lulu farmed fantastically last game on the Juggernaut, I feel. He managed to keep up with a Shadow Fiend, at least earlier on in the game before they started fighting, and kind of lost the game through team fights. So I think it's possible here he can farm really well. What do you build? Are you a Medallion Lycan? Do you maybe try to go straight Necros?
Um, I think you might just try to go for you get your Vlads up, and then you might just have to go BKB. I think you really want to avoid all this magic damage that's coming out from DK, and BKB is the only thing that might help you. If he decides to team fight, that's what he'll do. If he decides to split push, he'll either go for an AC, a Desolator, or maybe a Necro Book.
And Lycan is actually still in the fountain. He's taken Howl, level 1.
I think
I
that's
guess he's gonna... Like, why is he still in the fountain? Oh, he
well.
was...
I don't know why we're still in the fountain, but I think Hell level 1 is fine. Your wolves level 1 and 2 are really bad. Like when you play mid Lycan, you don't even level wolves until they hit level 3 really, as they're pretty bad during their first couple levels. And Hal is going to really help his team out, making sure that they're able to win their last 8 battles.
Yeah. So we're gonna see a little bit of an auto-attacking into the Spirit Breaker. He doesn't care. He's got a shield. It is stout. And we're gonna see the standard rune split 1 for 1, 1 for the other. AA is actually being a wonderful support player. Ice Cream Cone going back, blocking the wave for the SF. And I imagine this time things probably gonna go equally poorly for SF early game, but of course we'll have stacks or something to fall back on, just like last game.
Yeah, Dazzle and Winter Wyvern are going to be sitting mid on the Ember. It seems Winter Wyvern is going to be the one starting off and trying to maybe zone out the Shadow Fiend, give Ember a little better lane. But AA here, which is something was unexpected, he's skilled Chilling Touch and is going to basically secure Shadow Fiend, maybe 5 last hits or 3 to 4 last hits with it.
Yeah, if he can get off the attack animation. Oh, Ember Spirit still outlost hitting him, but there he goes. He gets one. And it's really just a snowball from there. Obviously
Yep.
more than one needed, but it helps a lot, each one that you get. And as you said, the Chilling Touch, pretty fantastic. The only downside, of course, is it does slow that attack, which is what Shadow Fiend is kind of known for. But he should be able to, yeah, he's got 3. He's set. So Shadow Fiend already having a great, getting some help in his lane, even though the Wyvern was there to harass him out. And AA looking to head up top now, which is where the Night Stalker is pulling.
This is it's an unusual lane for Earthshaker, as he normally you see him just kind of fissure off waves, but he's trying to get side pulls done. He's kind of staying really far up, and
Oh my goodness, he's actually going to do quite a bit of damage to AA there. Really well played. Stunning
yeah, that
the...
was.
yeah. Stunning him into the
Sorry.
creep wave. Really nice.
We see Spirit Breaker is charging out of there.
Yeah, it wants nothing to do with that. It looks like they used Arctic Bone and wolves? Like, what do you howl, I guess?
No,
No
he's not
wolves.
skilling wolves. Like I said, you don't really want to skill him.
Do you just
your
take
first
them
levels.
then later in the game? Like, what's the plan? Oh, bash.
No, you take Howl level 1, you take Feral Impulse level 2, and then you max wolves. It's
I-
just because. So you go.
No, I was just gonna say, again, Dazzle has put his level 1 skill was Poison Touch. We don't see that in the West.
It's something that's really odd for me because I've been facing a lot of Dazzles, and every time they seem to max Poison Touch versus me, and I don't expect it. It's a really underrated spell. Everyone says, "Oh, Poison Touch, it's a bad spell," but it actually does a fair amount of damage once you get any sort of minus armor on people.
Yeah, I think people just generally don't like when people skill it because it makes you late on the levels to Shadow Wave, which of course is great damage output, or Shallow Grave, which gains AoE, and of course much, much shorter cooldown as you level it. And I've certainly seen people you can argue, lose games off of the back of not having a shallow grave to throw out. But yeah, it did mad work here, the poison touch, as you said. A lot of damage coming out from it, and just the ability to harass so much. And this charge, it might connect, but there is a wyvern, and they cancel it. Creeps seeing the charge, and just kind of a shorter trip, you can argue, down to the bottom lane for Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, and I think the supports, like I said, they're kind of sitting around mid. Oh god, what happened to my mouse? But wyvern and
Oh, they actually managed to land the fissure. Will they have any sort of damage output? There is an early sleight of fist, but he's not high enough level, and that's going to be a first blood. He is managed to bash into the tower. He gets another bash. Are we going to see the Ember Spirit go down? Spirit Breaker doesn't get any more bashes, 17%. And that should be that.
Yeah, and that's the scary part for Shadow Fiend in this lane. Ember Spirit can do a lot of damage, and with someone like Winter Wyvern that has the massive slow and 5%, I think it's 5%. HP removal with Arctic Burn, you can really get a kill in that lane, even if it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, 8% apparently, which is even more devastating. And as you said, Ember Spirit, we've seen this before, particularly in lanes involving a Queen of Pain. You take one wrong step, you're dead. Because the Searing Chains actually does a lot of damage, as does the Flame Guard. Now, a point up in Sleight of Fist, of course, nerfs that overall damage, and he's actually taken it at the expense of Flame Guard, which I wasn't expecting in a Raze lane.
Yeah, I don't really take that. My Ember build is definitely to get 2 in Flame Guard, but his reasoning is that he can dodge mazes with it, and he can dodge Spirit Breaker stun with it. It's really underrated as like a dodging spell. As if Spirit Breaker charges him and he can't really get his chains off because he's maybe in the middle of a creep wave, he can just Sleight of Fist on top of it and negate the stun right away.
Now, as you said, you can definitely dodge things, but it's still really scary, I feel. You missed that timing just a little bit. I know these are very high skill players, but it is not a hard spell to miss. And they actually use the Cold Embrace. Their Searing Chains come out in time, though, and under the tower as well. XXS taking a lot of damage. Nightstalker wants to help out, but I don't know if there is help, and he is going to fall. A nice kill lining the pockets of Wyvern, and she is suddenly very happy with her positioning. 2 kills up on the side of Braveheart, and nothing for DK.
Yeah, they're playing this mid lane really well, and I guess I'll say Ember did miss the Sleight of Fist one time already. He tried to dodge, he popped Flame Guard, he tried to dodge it, and just missed it by half a second.
Oh.
It's a really hard spell to use to dodge, but it is possible.
Yeah, and we've got double rotation from the supports, but too little too late as the Earthshaker goes down. The first 5-second crippling fear has come out, and that's what we talked about during the draft. An Earthshaker into a Nightstalker. I mean, not that there's a good person to be into a Nightstalker, but Earthshaker, certainly not one of those where you can just kind of walk it off.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is Nightstalker's time. He still has 2 more minutes to really get around in the jungle, and I think we'll see Shadow Fiend maybe rotate into their own jungle, take these stacks, while Nightstalker maybe takes mid, gets some experience, and then tries to get 1 more kill during this nighttime.
Yeah, generally it's something where back when Nightstalker was getting picked a lot, for example, during the Frankfurt Major qualifiers, we were seeing a lot of folks trying to get at least 3 kills in that first nighttime. I think considering his movement, oh goodness, we have Remnants, 3 of them landing onto Wrong, and a Searing Chains puts him dead. He may not be able to get those 3 kills at all this game.
Yeah, he did exactly what I said. He was like, he told his Shadow Fiend, go jungle, I have stacks for you, and he went into the mid lane to try to get some experience, but he walked just a little bit too far and got punished for it as a melee hero.
Yeah, and really well done from the lineup of Braveheart. They smoked there to make sure they got it. So their early game last game was actually pretty good as well. They just had a lot of trouble in those team fight engagements. So once again, their early game is strong. They're pulling, they're actually very even. DK's ahead on experience, probably just because of where Shadow Fiend's positioning has been. But Braveheart certainly getting the kills and feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, of course, the team with Shadow Fiend is normally going to be ahead during the early game, especially with stacks being taken like that. And I think BraveHeart, though, are doing a fantastic job, and this Lycan is actually doing a lot of work. One thing that Wolves can do that I haven't mentioned yet is they've been kind of securing the rune for Ember. He's been sending a rune, or a wolf, excuse me, bot rune every couple or every 2 minutes to make sure that Ember Spirit either gets the rune or it gets denied, and that's been really helping them out during the mid lane.
Yeah. And as you said, just making sure that SF can't get the type of farm. And now we might see a top rune engagement. This DD, it has a little bit of life left on it. They decide not to go for it, but even then they get the searing chains out on both, and it's suddenly daytime. This should be an easy kill. Of course, no Requiem of Souls. It's a level 8 Shadow Fiend and Night Stalker just look on in sadness. The Raze, though, gets the kill out on Dazzle. Can they catch out Wrong as well? That Fission now suddenly in a bad spot. We also have a Spirit Breaker charge coming in. Bobo, what are you doing there? You're too low level, and he manages to take the Splinter Blast at the same time as Dog takes a Nether Blast to the face. Strike, blast, all the same, and that'll be that. I actually really thought with it becoming daytime abruptly, Braveheart had the significantly upper hand there, and I do think they got the better outcome, killing off the Shadow Fiend, but it did cost them a bit.
And we might see Slurk dive on mid lane. He has a haste rune.
Yeah, he wants the Ember Spirit, he's going for it. He of course has Shadow Dance as well, and the immediate TP out from 86, and that is a beautiful play.
Yeah, he had a Remnant high ground too. He was never really in any danger. Luckily, like I said, if Night Stalker doesn't silence him, he should be fine. It's really difficult to kill the Ember Spirit, and Night Stalker hasn't been able to really get the rotations he wanted to shut the Ember Spirit down.
Yeah. Now it looks like Lulu on that Lycan going for Vladimir's first. Not super unusual, but I wonder if this indicates an early Roshan attempt.
I think you go with Vladimir's first. One thing Lycan does have an issue with is that he doesn't have a really good way to regen mana, and Vlad's does give him a source of mana regen. It helps his wolves. I feel like it'll be really important to see what his second item is, and we'll decide kind of the pace of the game. If he goes BKB, if he goes for Necro Book, etc.
Oh, we have a nice little heal bomb coming out on QD. Of course, he's just gonna wander away. And on this tower... Okay, Wolf's just doing wolf things. So, I also wanted to say that we've got 2 Aquillas up. It's not super unusual. It's just maybe not the most efficient. What are your opinions on 2 Aquillas on one team?
Who has this? Slurk and Shadow Fiend?
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with it. I do it all the time. Me and my mid laner, if I'm playing mid, my safe laner, we often buy 2 of them. It's just really efficient for stats, it's efficient for mana regen, and a lot of the time you're not going to be around, whoever else has it, and they're going on bottom right now.
Yeah, Lulu, he's gotten off the transformation, but an A blast going to make that a moot point. He isn't yet in shadow range, he's going to run it off and be fine because that's a level 1 A blast, but that does mean he can't fight, and now there has to be the TP out by Shaw. Did they just get out completely scot-free? They did. While they did have to blow the transformation for that, and they might take quite a bit of damage on this bottom tower, I don't think they're even going to lose it. So,
no.
Seems good for Braveheart. Coming up heads.
Yeah, that's one of the issues when I talked about with this draft is that I thought the Lycan pick was really good, or not really good at the start, but once they pick AA into it, it really limits their lockdown. I mean, they have Spirit Breaker, and I mean, that's it. That's all the lockdown they have, really, to prevent this Lycan.
Oh, and they didn't bash. I don't know if you saw that.
On the Dazzle?
Yeah, Dazzle they didn't get a bash. Dazzle TP's out with a Shallow Grave, and as you pointed out, no lockdown. Nothing that stops someone from just walking away or TPing away from you. And now they're gonna get a mid tower. They might lose bottom, but they made a trade and again lost no one, and that was a lot of stuff expended from the lineup of XDK. So Braveheart doing well.
This is unfortunate too. DK just put down a ward right on this cliff, and Braveheart instantly saw it, so that is going to be a quick D ward, most likely. And,
oh, the top cliff up here?
Yeah, the top cliff right there.
Yeah, this one in mid, I'm not actually sure. I think it's a bit shy of the sentry. Yeah, it looks like it's a bit shy. So, when somebody walks by, we'll probably find out, but I'm pretty sure it's a bit shy. So a little bit unfortunate there for Braveheart, but always... You know, very on point, understanding that that's probably around the area that DK is looking for a ward. So
they're charging Lycan again. I think they're gonna go for this. Oh, this is risky. They see the Shadow Fiend. They know something's up.
Yeah, and Lycan, he's got some backup in the form of wolves, and yeah, they just back out. Is Shadow Fiend? Is that his creep? That has to be his creep. What are you doing? Otherwise, why is it walking around with him? So he's gone a very different build than the first game. Actually, a number of people in this game have gone very different builds. Excuse me, Slork, it looks like he's building into a drums, I have to assume. Shadowfiend not going the mech, he's going the much later game Helm of the Dominator into probably a Sanjin Yasha build.
Yeah, I don't remember when this was popularized, but it got really popular around like a month, or maybe 2 months ago, to go HOD on Shadow Fiend instead of your mechanism. And right now there is kind of really two builds. It's either you go HOD into your SNY, or you go mech into maybe Yules, or even an SNY again. So we'll see. I would have liked to mech this game, but obviously he feels that they won't be pressured enough to really needing a mech. And they're going on top now.
Yeah, Ice Blast gonna connect. Shallow Grave just not out in time. Can they pick off the Slog though? They have a bit of AoE damage. He's immediately going for the TP and they have no lockdown, but the heal bomb from the Dazzle does him in. At the same time, we lose Lycan elsewhere on the map, and it looks like Spirit Breaker and the Night Stalker just had their way with him with that Nether Strike, and Night Stalker just being a Night Stalker. That's it.
Yeah, that was really nice by Night Stalker. He was able to get the Void off, get the silence on Lycan, and I believe he got the silence off on Lycan, so Lycan had to wait to pop his ultimate.
Yeah.
It's the one way they can lock him down.
So, really well played there. Again, another tower trade, it looks like, in the workings for Y-Chen. I think top tower, obviously more important, and it looks like this mid tower might not even fall. A Blast is coming in, Splinter Blast to deter them, and with that down, they should feel a bit safer getting closer to the tower. So,
Night Stalker is going to have a steeping top. I think he needs to make sure that he gets something done during this time frame, otherwise they're going to have issues kind of stopping this Lycan going into the mid game. But I think he has two chances to do this. He can try to do it now within this 2 minutes, and his next night time is going to be really important for him.
yeah, it does feel like I definitely like DK's draft, and as we talked about last game, Slog is a really hard carry, and this SF is optimizing also to be a very hard carry. But I'm still concerned, and I don't think they know this is somewhat of a bait, but can Ember Spirit make anything of it? Another AA Blast that comes out, and he is dead before they can follow up. Says again, nobody in range. The Searing Chains have come out. I don't think they get this kill, but with the Winter's Curse, they certainly will. Here comes Night Stalker. Who is he going to silence today? It looks like Dazzle's going to be the target of choice, but here comes Shadow Fiend as well to see what damage he can back up, and they might just all be able to walk away. The Pounce not coming out from Slog either, so that's the end of that. This is what I'm talking about when I say folks sometimes complain that Dazzle going 1 point in Shadow in the Poison Touch nerfs the hero too much. He could have maybe been in range for a Shallow Grave there. But again, that's, it was very close either way.
Yeah, and another thing I'd like to say is Lycan is going for the Necro book, so he doesn't really want to fight. He wants to maybe just try to split push them, try to get pick-off, or not pick-offs, but try to create space for his team that way. And it means that we might see a lot of Ember Spirit, like Earthshaker, Dazzle, kind of 5-manning in that sense.
Yeah, I also think it makes more sense with their draft because they've picked some very defensive supports like the Dazzle, like the Wyvern. Both of those are supports that can kind of just halt a fight, and especially with DK not having heroes that chase you down, you just stop the fight, maybe with a Winter's Curse, walk away. You stop the fight with a Shallow Grave and walk away. I think it gives them a good amount of opportunities to stall until Lycan and Ember Spirit are ready to fight. Because Ember Spirit usually doesn't come online for at least, we've got another Pounce coming out. They have the magic damage and they've got a stun. Requiem of Souls right on top of an Ember Spirit. He's going to be the one to go down to the Nether Strike. Shallow Grave not even going to save their Wyvern, pops all of his stick charges, and now a huge AA Blast going to hit on no one. And Lulu, what are you doing in there? Get out of there. He's trying to run through everyone. Oh, huge heal bomb coming out, but Lulu's gonna fall, unfortunately, as well. They managed to get one kill using the Dazzle, but this is not enough. An Echo Slam, he doesn't have the mana. He could use the Soul Ring, but immediately silenced up on the Earthshaker. This team fight has gone all kinds of wrong for Braveheart, and now the members of DK just TPing away.
That was super well played by Spirit Breaker. He got his ultimate on the perfect time to make sure that Ember Spirit got chain stunned and couldn't get away with his ultimate, and then Slurk was just hammering away at Winter Wyvern, making sure that he stole as many stats as he could. It was a really well executed fight by DK.
Yeah, and it was just well played, really unfortunate for Braveheart, and I think maybe an instance of they should have just given up the tower. It's just a tier 1 instead of, losing the tower and losing a number of lives only for the Shadow Fiend.
So I need to stop calling them DK. I keep calling them DK, but they're X.
They're XDK, but their team logo still says DK, and I feel like most people watching are probably confused. So yeah, folks, they're XDK. Apparently, they were released recently. They're still playing under DK. I I am just going to go with what we're seeing, just so that folks don't get too confused. That's my general policy now. I want to do a quick look around to see if anybody's getting close to anything big. Oathshaker making good progress towards that Blink Dagger, which will certainly help their damage output in these team fights. And we've also got Ember Spirit, of course, working on the Battle Fury like he always does. Glimmer Cape is active on the Dazzle, just needs that delivered, and there we go. And I think that one will certainly help them a lot. They're not yet carrying around detection on the lineup of DK, just so they'll get a little bit, well, they have a couple sentries. But, you know, you'll get a little bit of surprisery in the first Glimmer Cape usage.
Yeah, and Slurk has now picked up his Shadow Blades, so it's going to be interesting to see if maybe they can go for, well, turns out Blazeheart, or not, Braveheart is going for the smoke, and they're smoking around top to look for somebody.
Yeah. We've also got a Midas up on Night Stalker. AA has one too, about a quarter of the way to his Aghanim Scepter. And finally, big bad Shadow Fiend Wolf has picked up almost a Sanjan Yasha. They are stalking Slog. He has to know. He's actually telling his team that there is a ward there. Doesn't look like they'll end up going on Slog. So, no cigar for that little engagement.
Well, Lycan might be in a bad position right now.
Yeah. But as we say that, his spidey sense, or wolf sense, is tingling. He is walking away. Transformation comes out. A blast, will it hit because of the transformation? Oh goodness, it does not manage to hit, but he is pounced up and he is dead. He's running around in a circle. Do they have another Dog Pact coming out, or is Lulu gonna be safe? But in comes the Night Stalker. He needs to walk it off. No such luck there, and suddenly they're fighting against this team. I don't think they want to fight here. They might be able to just pick off wrong and call it a day, but that is not an equal trade for Braveheart, and they are falling behind in this game, and I don't know how well they're going to play this one from behind.
Yeah, I really like how even though Night Stalker died there, it is worth it, and one thing Spirit Breaker did do that didn't work out, but he tried to make a play where he canceled his ultimate and tried to like knock Lycan into the AA blast, but it was just right off. This will make sure that DK will be able to secure Roshan. I don't think Braveheart will contest, maybe if they get there right away, but
even
it
if
looks like they're not going to be able to make it.
Yeah, even if they did get there, it would be completely choreographed by this ward in this area, so not super easy for Braveheart, and that is going to be Roshan going down. I think DK's plan, of course, is to get a few objectives with this Aegis. For Braveheart, I think, oh goodness, here comes Slog. He's gonna walk under a sentry, he's gonna see their courier and everything, and now Braveheart, they know it's coming. Glimmer Cape is up, he's gonna manage to dodge the AA blast. Razors do hit, but of course with Glimmer Cape and the immediate Shallow Grave saving his life, Searing Chains come out, as does the Cold Feet, and it looks like we're gonna just have folks walking away. I think here for Braveheart, you need to just stop fighting almost, you know, fissure block people out of fighting, Winter's Curse people out of fighting. If they can get a bit more farm on their heroes, suddenly with Necronomicons running around, with a nice Sleight of Fist coming out with a Battle Fury and maybe a crit, I do think they're a bit scary, but just not now.
Yeah, and Lycan still, he's only has Necrobook 1, I think, right now. And one thing, Braveheart Braveheart are smoking up, so this could be a big moment for them. But sadly, Night Stalker does have that vision advantage right now during the nighttime, so it's going to be maybe a bit difficult to get that initiation they're looking for with this Earthshaker Blink Dagger.
Yeah, and it's really small, and we mentioned it in the draft already, but I do believe Slok has increased nighttime vision, so it's just like a little extra oomph. So I'm pretty sure. I could be crazy,
yeah,
but
he has the same thing as Night Stalker.
Yeah, it's just like a little bit of extra vision that can always help you out. So just nice synergy.
On the other hand, Lycan also has increased night vision, so we have night vision everywhere.
I did not know that one. I knew Luna did, of
it's
course.
It's a weird interaction. It's only during his ultimate, I believe.
Okay, why? Wolves see well in the night?
Dude, I don't know.
He does get added night vision. Yeah. Wow. Lycanthropy. You're weird. Didn't know that. Anyway, fun facts abound, folks. So let's see what they can get done. This Night Stalker, he is now going to work on his Ags. He's kind of a bit behind. I don't know. I feel like, I guess he hasn't had the best ganking presence game. I just expected him to be a bit further along, considering the AA also already is halfway to his Ags, and you know,
well,
it's an AA.
Night Stalker did go for Midas first, so it did delay his Aghanims, and this is kind of the normal Night Stalker build nowadays. He's getting close. It is only 3,000 off when you consider that he has a Midas that you're pretty much going to be farming throughout this entire Aegis timing. It is looking good to get maybe a 30-minute Aghanims. And once they have that Aghanims, I think that's when they can kind of take fights with Spirit Breaker, with Slark, and use this kind of vision advantage that they have to get pickoffs and maybe push some towers.
Yeah. In the meantime, finally this tier 1 will go down. No contest coming out of DK, and I think that is fine for them. They can work on pushing mid. They have other objectives to achieve. BKB next up for the SF. I guess, I mean, Earthshaker, of course, always a good source of damage, but they've also got quite a bit of physical coming out of BraveHeart, so...
Yeah, and one thing to mention is they did change Winter Wyvern, so BKB is useful versus his ultimate. So if you BKB and you get ultimated, I believe that
you don't attack.
You.
You don't. No. If your teammates will attack you if you're the BKB unit, but if you are BKB, you want to attack your teammates, and this could just be the Aegis burned. Can they get enough damage with the Splinter Blast? That is it. That's pretty dang good for BraveHeart. I do think actually they should disengage, but they want to go in. The transformation coming in. A blast. Oh goodness, it's actually going to completely whiff because the Requiem of Soul scared everyone away. It might still be enough. The Shallow Grave comes out, and that Blade Mail, it's not doing him any favors, and that is the Winter's Curse that we talked about. They're still getting attacked. They managed to burn the entire BKB time. Splinter Blast going to do good work. Where is it? There's going to be a used up Echo Slam already, and can they capture the Slug? He's going to get 1 kill. Will he get more? He is fighting not under a sentry. There's a gem on the deck as well, apparently, and they managed to kill off the Slug. Well played from BraveHeart. I need a drink, apparently. Who has the gem? Dazzle.
I believe BraveHeart got it back, yes.
And yeah, to explain, the BKB basically, as you can see that your allies still attack you, but you won't attack your allies? And so, all good, usually. It's actually, especially when you're the SF, because frequently you don't curse. It depends on the situation, but there are definitely situations where maybe you don't curse the SF. You curse the Spirit Breaker so that the SF kills his own Spirit Breaker, right?
Yeah.
It really depends on the scenario. Although I think here cursing the SF is often the right choice because Slog still steal. I don't know if he still steals essences, but he does a crap ton of damage.
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
That was a really nice fight by both teams, actually. To start off the fight, Night Stalker silenced the Ember Spirit, but with a great grave by Dazzle, actually, they were able to turn around that fight, and now it kind of puts XDK on the back foot. They might have to wait for Roshan, they have to wait for their Night Stalker Aghanims, and maybe try to just go for more pickoffs instead of just trying to 5-man.
I do feel like one thing that went really wrong there for DK, unlike previous engagements, was that the Spirit Breaker, who's been so critical in locking down people like this Ember Spirit who's being charged right now, as we speak, oh goodness, he actually didn't get all the stun. He's gonna be taking too much damage. He just gets picked off. Did he not have a Remnant active?
Oh, this is ballsy by Lycan.
I'm really confused. I feel like he maybe didn't have a Remnant active there. He's got the Howl doing a lot of damage with all of his minions, stealing mana from XXS, and he's just gonna charge away. Oh goodness, they're actually going for some more. They want it. They've got a Shallow Grave up Dazzle. He's gonna maybe throw out the heal. There is the Winter's Curse, but it doesn't matter. They're doing lots of AoE damage, and Slog, he wants the Wyvern now. She's gonna Cold Embrace herself. There's gonna be a Dark Pact coming. Not enough damage, but this is gonna be a goodbye Cold Embrace, and even the Splinter Blast, it isn't enough. The tower, it can't see the Slog. It can't do damage to him, and now they're coming in. That was a completely whiffed team fight out of the lineup of BraveHeart. So many unnecessary losses there.
Yeah, I think Ember Spirit just got silenced. The Night Stalker is paying off. It's such a good hero versus Ember. And when you don't go Manta like this and go for the greedy Battle Fury, it really leaves you susceptible to Night Stalker during any nighttime.
Yeah. So it's definitely something. You mentioned the Manta. Another pickup we see sometimes is the Lincolns. Excuse me. And if he has to, the BKB, of course, not. Manta is always preferred because at least it gives you some damage output. But he's going straight for crit. He's not even stopping. Maybe we sometimes see Embers even go for a Scotty just to tank up a bit so they can take these better. But decided here that he just needs crits.
I think he feels on the back foot. This is a dilemma that I had a lot when I faced Spirit Breaker as the Ember Spirit. It's, do I go for my crit or do I go for Lincoln's first? Or maybe even Manta. I think Lincoln's is the better pick this game just to prevent your charges, but... And, oh man, Shadow Fiend.
Oh. He Requiem of Soul. I mean, it's not that bad. Like, I think they can successfully dodge a team fight for the next 90 seconds, but it was an interesting choice to Requiem there.
Yeah, it was a nice play. He tried to one-shot Ember Spirit when with the Invis rune.
Yeah.
So it was a good try. But back to what I was saying is that it means that he feels the Ember Spirit, I should say, feels kind of on the back foot. He thinks if he doesn't go damage items, they're gonna lose because he won't have enough damage for the team fight, and he's just gonna kind of sleight of fist and not really do enough. Lincoln's does give him split pushing ability, but he thinks that okay, well, at this point during the game, I'm not going to be able to split push. I need to go for damage items. I need to be able to hit hard during these team fights, even if it means that I might get picked off.
And we have an engagement. They managed to get the Winter's Curse off. They even used the Echo Slam, but will they have the damage output to seal the deal? It doesn't look like it's Slog. He's in that Shadow Dance, and now here comes the Ice Blast. That is a dead ES. And will there be more? The Lycan is trying to do something, but he gets bashed up. Their only form of lockdown. Splinter Blast just gonna tickle wrong. He's getting pretty low, but they need more. Can they pick off the Earthshake? No, the Spirit Breaker charges away. Little arrow from the ranged Necro Creep following him, and nothing for the lineup of BraveHeart. They got so many heroes so low there, and they get nothing.
The good news is that XDK's BKB charges are going down. You have an 8-second BKB on Shadow Fiend and a 9-second BKB on Slurk, so if you wear those down, you might be in a little better position for these fights, as they're just a little bit too long right now.
Yeah, so it's something. It's not maybe exactly what they wanted. So Lycan, I think he's working on a BKB next.
I haven't seen his items, but yeah, he should be going for BKB.
So, and
it's okay. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, makes a lot of sense here. While it doesn't get rid of the AA debuff, it stops you from taking the tick damage, so it can help and let you just keep fighting in a team fight. Maybe not have to worry about it as much. And there's a bit of magic damage, you know, can knock off the silence maybe from the Night Stalker, not have to take a lot of his early game damage output before he gets tankier. So, really nice there. But this AA, he already has an Ag Scepter, so it's kind of rough to run the BKB into an Ag Scepter, because it lasts longer than the BKB.
I still think he needs it just to maybe even get rid of the silences, because one thing that can happen, Night Stalker now has his Aghanims up, which is going to be huge for Team XDK, but it means that if Night Stalker gets a silence on Lycan, you can't ult, you can't get away, and you're pretty much sitting there until the 7-second silence runs off.
Yeah,
and,
it's rough.
This is a smoke by BraveHeart. They might catch the Slark. Oh, this is bad.
Oh, they know he's here. They pop the dust. He uses his BKB, and I don't think they have other lockdown that pierces this. They can follow him. He's going to pounce away. They did have one blink, but they already used it for positioning, and he is going to wander away. Again, yes, they got a BKB charge out of it, but is it enough?
It's just showing they don't have enough for lockdown, and that was a really nice play by Slark. He instantly popped BKB. I think a lot of players would kind of get greedy there and maybe pop ultimate first, and that could lead to a death. It was a really good decision to just pop BKB, like know that, okay, well, if I see someone, I just need to pop it, make sure that I can get out safely.
Yeah. Doing a nice job there as well. They tried to go for the Roshan immediately. I actually think they could probably take this pretty easily just because the Winter's Curse is down, but you still have to worry about the Echo Slam.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really risky to take Roshan versus any lineup that has Winter Wyvern, Dazzle, Earthshaker. It's going to be like that on both sides, but they're going in on this Ember if they might get this.
Yeah, and he is going to take one stun. They actually put up a really nice fissure, but they have enough time to get around. The Echo Slam comes out, and there's the Ice Blast. Ember Spirit is out for the count, and let's see what else they can do. They picked off Dog 7 on that Earthshaker. Wyvern's Arctic Burn has worn out, slowed down with that Void, immediately uses the Cold Embrace, but this just delays the inevitable. We have two other members of BraveHeart on the sidelines, not at all involved in that team fight. A big, nice swing for DK, easily a mid-tower. I think, Lulu, it is time to split push.
Yeah, and buyback forced on Winter Wyvern. I think they're just going to ignore Roche, go for the high ground. And Slurk has a lot of Essence shift stacks, because even though Wyvern heals himself, he does give Slurk Essence shift stacks and more agility to hit this tower.
Yeah, it's somewhat considered as well a bit of a counter to the Wyvern. They actually throw the Splinter Blast onto SF and they all back out. I'm not sure. I feel like Wyvern buying back without the ult, but of course it did seem to deter them somewhat, and now her ult's back up.
It was a good buyback, but let's not say DK are still really happy with this. They forced out Glyph, they got a lot of tower damage, and now they're gonna get a free Roshan.
Yeah. So working out for them. Why did we say, oh, we have a three-man smoke? They're
Yeah,
not
it's a
all
three-man
going
smoke.
for it. I'm really surprised by this. I don't know if it's the right play. They're going as if they can stop, and the rest of their team is following up, but they're all walking by wards. He actually uses his remnants already. They throw out the curse. Oh gosh, they're gonna get at least one in the searing chains. Here comes the AA blast, and it doesn't matter. Weave won't save you for that. Requiem of Souls as well. Winter's Curse again, but you can see the BKBs. Nobody's attacking him. They're gonna keep going in with their Ember Spirit. He uses his final remnant, I believe, since he used so many to get over there. They will finally know. They still don't get the slug. They get him with a sleight of fist. They've got the heal coming out on Lulu, but they do end up losing the Earthshaker on the backlines. They should be able to get another kill at the very least here. Searing Chains, or Sleight of Fist Searing Chains doing some good work. Nightstalker unable to seal the deal on the Wyvern. Slog buys back. That's a huge win for Braveheart, but this does mean that DK, they want that Roshan, or maybe just return kills.
Well, there's 2 buybacks now. Spiritbreaker brought back 2. They really want this Roshan. That was a weird engagement. Roshan was really low, and they decided to take a fight there. It was a bit of an overcommitment.
And seeing how fast they took down the Roshan there, I agree with you. I'm a bit surprised they didn't just go for it. So, looking like Shadow Fiend working on his Scotty now. Now, if you're a Night Stalker at this point, you kind of got everything you're expected to have. Are you maybe going for a Heaven's Halberd up next? What's your, maybe get your team as Solar Crest? Because I don't think they have one.
Yeah, they don't. I would actually maybe even consider just going for a sheep stick. You can even go something like, maybe Lincolns for your team. It's kind of unusual, but there's not a lot of good items you could buy right now. I think Lincolns would be really useful to maybe stop the Winter Wyvern ult, put it on your Shadow Fiend as he walks up high ground. Even a Lotus Orb might be really nice for them. I think Lotus Orb actually would be a fantastic pickup for him.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This game seems like a pretty nice one. There are a couple things it would return here. And I also want to talk about Spirit Breaker. I feel like he's actually someone we quite frequently see go something like the Lotus Orb or the Lincolns to help out a teammate. Maybe he's the AC carrier here? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think he should definitely get an AC. Lycan's going to be working towards AC as his next item. Maybe... I kind of want Lycan to get a Basher. I think that he doesn't really have any way to really reliably lock down targets right now. I think maybe a Basher and Abyssal might be helpful, but most likely we're going to see an AC out of him, and Spirit Breaker can get up a fast AC. It'll mean that they'll have a much easier way dealing with these fights when they do come.
Yeah. So if they can get any sort of lockdown for this slog, they did manage to kill him that last time, put him way far behind on his Scotty. He was pretty close beforehand. And Nightstalker saving up a lot of gold. He also doesn't have a TP. Bold strategy. Here I think it works out a lot because he moves so fast. He's kind of like the Slog in that aspect where you're running around the map so fast. It's maybe not the biggest of deals because you'll get to the team fight, but always a risk not carrying a TP, especially against heroes like Lycan, although he's really not doing any pushing.
Yeah, it's just really risky versus Spirit Breaker and all these heroes that can globally or even like really quickly move around the map to split push. Like I think 3 out of 5 of their heroes can move around at 520 move speed, and even AA, just one of those heroes plus AA might be able to secure a kill.
Yeah, so really smart play coming out of Braveheart, and while I do think they're behind, right, you can see they're about 1,500 net worth behind, about 20,000 experience behind, they're playing it safe, and I don't think they're necessarily out of it yet.
Well, absolutely not. You have an Ember Spirit and a Lycan going into late game. You can definitely still win this, and it's going to take some good fights, though. They need to make sure that they play smart.
Yeah, and I think playing smart does not include taking this type of engagement outside of your base. I think with an Ember Spirit, with a Wyvern, you have fantastic high ground defense, so why are you forcing it outside of the base?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Earthshaker too.
Kind of risky just walking out. This Ember Spirit is in a really bad spot. He needs to make sure that he stays back, because if he dies, even if you force a buyback out on Ember, the way the game's going right now, if you force buyback out, it delays his items so much. It's to the point where you can't really buy back without major risk to losing the game.
Yeah, and Ember Spirit also the only one with buyback. It looks like we might be seeing a tier 3 fall here. Immediately the SF backs up, waiting for his creep wave and waiting out that glyph. He's also got an Alpha Wolf today, so he hits like a truck. a biggish truck. And they're also kind of split pushing them. It's gonna be this ending. Oh, they managed to land the Searing Chains and this Fissure combo, but one more auto attack. He's just gonna have the Alpha Wolf do it, and there we go. We've got more action on the top lane, but I want to focus on this mid lane because I think that's where we're gonna finally see the fight. Of course, the SF is playing so ballsy because he does have the Aegis, but again, they might be able to burn him down just like last time. But here comes the charge onto the Wyvern of all people, and Ice Blaster followed up. Can they get out of it? Bashed out of the Ice Blast, but already dead, and no buyback on this hero. Now we've got Slock running around with a BKB. Also, Lycan has one, but they need to worry about their tower going down. Another Sleight of Fist should kill off the Shadow Fiend, but he has a secondary life, and yeah, he's gonna maybe tick out to that burning. One more auto attack should do it. There he goes. No Requiem Souls on this left, but the next one, they managed to stop the charge with the Fissure. Will there be any sort of follow-up? Slaying Chains doesn't land on anyone, and suddenly Necronomicon creeps are gone. Lycan's transformation also not looking great, and Slog, he is in your base, he is strong, his Shadow Dance is off cooldown. Oh, there's gonna be a Fissure. Where is the Echo Slam to follow it up? Earthshaker, he is waiting here. He could go in at any time, and there it is! Finally, there's the Echo Slam, another AA blast coming out. Slog full stuffed and Pounce Requiem of Souls. It's gonna do huge amounts of damage. Lulu tries to TP out, but it is too little too late. Dog 7 is gonna fall as well, and this is at least one set of racks. They don't have anyone else who can fold, and the crits coming out of Ember Spirit, they are not enough, and it looks like him, he is going to fall as well. They get some nice little crits on Ember Spirit. The charge almost transferring over onto him, but I think this team fight is over. And oh gosh, QD coming back in, telling them that it's not over. He's doing a lot of damage to the Wyvern, and I think they have to stop now.
Yeah, they don't know this, but Ember Spirit bought out. He made a really risky play there. He started buying his Perseverance for his Lincoln Sphere, and he actually didn't have buyback for that fight. If they had known that, they might have just kind of committed on him and gone for the win there.
Yeah. Pretty unfortunate here for Braveheart. I feel like they're trying so hard to lock down this lock, and they almost get it there again, but forced offs, you know. The forced off on the AA. Traditionally, actually, a hero who he's played kind of oddly these days when you think about it. You want to stay back to make sure you get the big AA blast, but it's so useful to have him in a team fight since he can provide an extra Glimmer Cape, in this case an extra forced off. He's even going for a mech. He's that rich. So, helping them out a lot.
Yeah, and if you look at the net worth chart here, you see that it's not that big a difference between maybe the two highest cores. It's a big difference, but it's not too bad. But when you get to Night Stalker and AA, they're each, with their Midases, I mean, 6k ahead of the other support in the game. And that's making the big difference here.
Yeah, and as you said, it's making a big difference not only in net worth, but when we take a look at hero levels. Both the Night Stalker and the AA already have their level 2 ultimate. Not even the offlaner for Braveheart, the Earthshaker, has his level 2 ultimate. So, at Echo Slam, underwhelming a little right now.
No, do you mean level 3 ultimate?
I do! You're right. I do mean 3, not 2. So
I was checking heroes, I'm like, is Earthshaker really only level 10?
No,
He's gotta be more than level 10 by now.
We're 40 minutes in. Sorry. My apologies. We all make mistakes. So, yeah, it's just really hard when your opponents, not only is that an Aghanim's upgrade level 3 AA blast coming at you, but Night Stalker, of course, extra powerful. And while a lot of what you want out of the Echo Slam is certainly that lockdown, because they're definitely not using it maybe when the most creeps are around. And speaking of Earthshaker
with a blink dagger.
Yeah, this is not a fun time to be sure. There's gonna be a charge coming out. We're gonna see Earthshaker. He's been cold and braced up, but here comes Slock getting some quick work. 4, 5 essence stacks. And now they get the Nether Strike onto shore. The Wyvern's gonna fall again. No buyback. This could just be GG. XDK looking like they're in a fantastic place to take the game. I think the only saving grace for Braveheart is that that BKB is down on the Slock. But what do they have to do with it? They have nothing they can use to fight it. The jump in by the Night Stalker, the immediate remnant away, but they are going in, and you are no longer invisible like this. They get off a really nice Sleight of Fist Searing Chains, but it is not enough. It might get them down to half health, but you're gonna need to do that again. Y-Chen is just standing there and fighting. He does not care. The remnant away. One more auto attack would have done it on Lulu. He is healing up in the base. He has a little bit of time left on that transformation, but I think it's going to expire before he can do anything. Another Searing Chain Slaughter Fish, but Slog, he's melting through the Ember Spirit, and that is GG. And with that, they call it. And it's a 2-0 for Team XDK.
Yeah, that was just really well played by them. I think Braveheart made a couple of big mistakes going into that game. I think they could have definitely won that game if they maybe played a little bit safer and not taken a couple dumb fights. I don't really want to call them dumb, but they just kind of played a little too aggressive. They maybe just sat in their high ground and tried to defend from there. They could have maybe won this game out.
Yeah. Feeling like maybe they were just a little impatient there. But either way, we're going to be seeing Team DK 2-0 or XDK 2-0, the lineup that we have sitting here for BraveHeart. Once again, I am Llama Down Under. I have been joined by the wonderful Noble Wings from Team Lonely Boys. That's Noble Wings with a Z. You can find him on Twitter under that alias, and I am Llama Down Under on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. I would love to hear your feedback on how to get better, how to make these calls more enjoyable for all of you out there watching. And so I hope to hear from you all and see you in the next set that we have coming up right quick. And there might be a little bit of break between them, but we will try to get you into that as soon as possible, folks. So please enjoy. We'll be going to a few words from the sponsors, and we'll see you then.